You are now watching Chopping It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White.
Good morning. It is another episode of Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. And, of course, I'm Perry White. He's the man, the myth, the legend himself, the big guy, my guy, Roger Cador. I see you growing that out a little bit.
Yeah, I want to be tough so I can deal with you.
And my man on the board, Garrett Edgerton. And we're going to get the show started today. I hope you guys had a good week. And we getting ready to get it going today with a very special guest today, Coach, correct?
Lee Arthur Smith, Hall of Fame relief pitcher. Spent many years with the Cubs and the Cardinals. Those were the years he spent his better years with. Yes. Lee Arthur is from North Louisiana. What city is that?
It's a little town of Castor, C-A-S-T-O-R. And I think you're the only one that called me Lee Arthur.
Well, I am the only one. I want people to know.
Yes, sir. Yes, definitely.
What do they normally call you? Just Lee?
Yep, mostly Lee Smith, yeah.
That sounds like when somebody know you, when they say, hey, Lee Arthur, come here.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, when I used to come to Houston and Texas to play, and all my buddies was like, man, we were calling you, just ignore me. And I'm like, if you call me Lee Arthur, I know you know me. So I look at the stands. They always were dropping Lee Arthur when they had the little small towns. People would show up to the games.
You know, you spent many years in the MLB, 18 years to be exact, playing with 8 different teams like Coach said. But I just noticed something about you. You got a birthday coming up, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, December 4th, man.
I'm December the 10th.
No, oh, my God. You know what? I got a lot of buddies, myself, Fergie Jenkins, George Foster, all those guys about right about December 11th or the 13th.
Do you believe in all the Zodiac stuff?
Oh, no.
I didn't know if you was going to go down that route of the Sagittarius with me.
Oh, no, man. All I believed in is if my slider was breaking.
That's
right. You know, the different teams you played with the Chicago Cubs from 80 to 87, the Boston Red Sox from 88, which is the year I was born, to 90, the St. Louis Cardinals from 90 to 93, the Yankees for a year in 93, the Baltimore Orioles in 94, the California Angels in 95 and 96, the Reds in 96, and then Montreal Expos in 97. A 7-time All-Star in 83, 87, 91 through 95. Man, talk about that career. Going to so many different places, being able to see so many different areas of the country, and as well as exceeding at that position as a Hall of Fame pitcher.
Well, you know, I came from a small town, man. To this day, we still don't have a red light. So I'm actually, you know, letting this Hall of Fame thing sort of sink in. But you know the one thing that's amazing, like I said, my hometown don't have a red light now, and we had back in the day more black kids that play baseball. But now it's gotten so out of hand, so expensive with the travel ball, and the really, really best athletes can't afford to play baseball, can't play travel ball. So in my little experience, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have also. The only reason I played the game of baseball was I was trying to get a scholarship to pay for an education. My first love was basketball. I played like at Northwestern for a couple of years, but it was to take care of my education because I know that my family couldn't afford to send me to college. And my lifelong dream was to be a high school coach, basketball coach in Castor, Louisiana. So I'm just glad to see MLB starting to put a little more money into the inner city youth of trying to get more black kids to play the game of baseball, because in baseball you go 5 years in the minor leagues, man. You go from football, you go from college to the NFL, and then basketball, you go from college to the NBA. So I think I think that we really need to get educated. And Coach and I saw a few games of some great black colleges played at the All-Star game in Seattle. So I was glad to see that. I was glad to see that and be a part of it.
Go ahead,
Well,
Coach.
yeah, Lee, and you were talking about from football, you go from college to NFL, basketball, college to NBA. But the downside with the NBA is that I was listening to a gentleman give us some stats. He said 4 million kids start out playing basketball, going to high school, go try out. From high school to college, you got about 400 kids is going to get a scholarship, 4,000.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And then he
Okay.
said from there to the NBA, you only got 7 jobs.
Yes.
It's only 7 jobs. Why would that many
Yeah.
people fight for only 7 jobs? And it's because they don't know better.
Yeah. But Coach, I tell you what is all of the kids that play the game of baseball, less than 1% of them make it to the big leagues.
Right.
But the thing about it is, you can the minor league guys, man, they make a lot of money in the minor leagues now. So,
Yeah.
but the thing about that's really tough, a lot of people don't realize. You go to spring training, you have to have somewhere to live. Where you play, you have to have somewhere to live. And then if you don't live in that town, so you're moving like 3 times in 1 year. But I think the one good thing about baseball is health. After you get through playing the game, especially in football, with the kids with the concussions and things like that. And I have a son now that goes to college and play football at West Point, and he's been there for 2 years. And Coach, he has not played 1 down yet. He's been hurt ever since he's been there.
Well, and that's what happened with football. You
Yeah,
get
yeah,
hurt.
yes, sir. Yeah, man. Yeah, but I just wish we had some way that they could help the inner city youth kids play baseball. But I think what happens is so many of the coaches, I think, keep the guys away from playing all sports.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought I was a better basketball player than baseball. I actually thought I had a better jump.
You sound like this guy sitting next to me.
So did I. I went to college on the
I'm telling you, man,
basketball scholarship, so that's how I got there.
Yeah, but if you play all the sports and you find out, hey, I'm a little better at this, I was like one guy that got that opportunity to find that out.
Yeah.
And actually, when they started throwing that relief pitching thing out there, Coach, I really didn't like the idea because then it was a slap in the face being a relief pitcher because all the guys wanted to be starting pitchers. You would look at the Bob Gibsons and the Fergie Jenkins and Don Newcombs and all those guys. You wanted to be a starting pitcher because the relievers didn't get to pitch in the game until the starter got his butt kicked.
Right.
So it changed around, and I actually, when I was made a relief pitcher for the Chicago Cubs, I was in Midland, Texas. I actually quit playing the game of baseball and came back and played college basketball at Northwestern. Because I had signed a 4-year deal there at Northwestern before I signed up to play baseball.
Wow. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Little known history that came out today.
If you go ahead.
No, you go ahead, sir.
I was saying, if you're just tuning in, you hear the voice of Lee Arthur Smith, a Hall of Fame MLB pitcher, a Louisiana guy. Let's talk about Jamestown, Louisiana, the place with no red light, right?
Well, the thing about it is I was born in Jamestown. We didn't have a school, so we went to school in Ringo. And I thought it was the worst thing that ever happened to me was the everybody going to school together. Because I went my first through the 7th grade, I went to all black schools until they integrated schools. And I think the best thing that I thought was the worst thing that ever happened was the best thing that ever happened to me because I actually lived about 3 miles from Castle High School. But we were driving past 2-3 different white schools to go to the all-black school back in the day. And I know we didn't have cars. My dad walked to work. I wasn't going to be able to get from practice. I wasn't going to be able to get from the games. And I tell you what, that was one of the best things that ever happened to me.
You get an opportunity to play baseball. So you got scouted by Buck O'Neil. Talk about that relationship between you and Buck O'Neil.
Oh, man, my God. Every chance I get to go to Kansas City, man, I go there and try to, give some thanks to the Negro League Museum and see all those guys up there But the guy, Bob Kendricks, that took over, he's like a walking encyclopedia. But the thing that Buck O'Neil did away from the game of baseball, I mean, all the speaking engagement that he did, and he would always talk about the civil rights movement, things like that, and try to get the kids to understand what they had to go through, and think about, hey, it's not that bad what you have to go through now just because the internet's not fast, So those things that Buck would bring to the table, and this man had a memory was unbelievable. I was drafted in 1975, and Buck saw me in the big leagues in like 92, 93. And he said to me, the first thing he ever said to me, he said, "Man, how is Miss Bessie?" And I'm like, that was my mom. This dude met her in 1975, man. He still remembers. But the thing about Buck, and the negative thing that he had to go through, he always had a smile on his face. And you would just think about, man, how do he do that? But it was unbelievable, just the thing that he stood for, and that, finally getting just reward there a little bit in Cooperstown.
Got to ask you this. What is it like for a 6'6", 200-plus pound guy throwing a 95-mile-per-hour fastball, leaving North Louisiana, going to the big city of Chicago?
Well, man, the scariest part for me, my first road trip was New York. I was getting lined
up. Now, that's scary.
Hey, but you know what's so weird about it is when I went to Chicago, most of the elderly or older people were from the South.
That's right.
Because they went up there during the Depression. Mm-hmm. And heck, my my doorman at the building that I lived at was from Heflin. That's like 6 miles from me. Yeah. But all of the people there had moved up there for jobs. So I met a lot of people that I still see and talk to this day. But the city was unbelievable. I didn't get too far away from the ballpark where I live because I didn't know if I could find my way back home.
You're right.
But that city embraced it was, to me, then it was a losing organization because we hadn't won nothing since 108 years or something like that, before they won something. But the people that followed the team, they know your stats better than you do. And the thing about it is the love that I got from the city, and now that I'm back working for the Chicago Cubs, unbelievable, man. But the city itself, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what they care about in sports.
You talk about the city of Chicago. That's where my family is, and they did exactly what you just said. Migrated and moved. They called it doing the Great Migration. They left from the South in Lake Village, Arkansas, and moved up to Chicago and got jobs, police officers, principal, teacher, got an uncle retired CTA, bus driver, to get a better life. So I understand. But, during your time up there, you probably had a good culture in terms of being around and being embraced by black folks as well in an unfamiliar setting.
Well, I remember when Joe Morgan, that rest so, said the fact that we had more American black in the big leagues in 1967 than we had in 2005. He was making that point to the Astros and the White Sox did not have one black on either team. Mm-hmm. And so that's the thing, the point that he was making. For even what my intention was to get an education, playing baseball. Mm-hmm. But I think the cost have really weeded out so many great black athletes because, man, I took my son to Maine to a couple of travel ball things, and I'm like, man, I played 18 years in the big league. I was screaming about the hotel cost and the travel to get there if you don't have a good sponsor.
Yeah, and that is big what you're saying because I'm glad how you brought it back around. I grew up playing baseball, and in my community there were tons of baseball leagues, of where you have fathers and guys in the community that had teams, and you just had baseball all over the place. And now when I go back home and I look around, those baseball fields now lie empty. Fence falling apart, the grass has grown up, the interest is not there. And then when you look at MLB, when you look at it and you think there's a black person and you thinking maybe they're from America, you find out they're not from America. They're from international, they're international players. And it seems the attraction Because growing up for me watching Ken Griffey Jr., I thought that was amazing, right? You got to see Ken Griffey as a superstar on that level. And even factoring in Deion Sanders a little bit, playing both football and baseball. But it seems we have since now and today, it doesn't seem to be that attracting. And the heroes of baseball don't quite look like us to attract and bring in that next generation of young people to want to go in that direction because the money is there and the games are there.
Yes. But you know what? I just wonder, Major League Baseball is trying to do so many things to get the kids. But when they start doing the baseball clinics and camps and everybody start bringing their own teams in, you don't find that kid that can't afford that glove or can't afford those shoes to play the game. And back in the day, we played stickball in the back of the yard or in the street, man. And these guys now, they don't have, their Nike cleats and the King Griffey Jr. glove and all these $300-$400 bats. They don't want to play the game.
So is the game too? Are you saying the game has gotten too fancy? Is the game gotten bougie?
Oh God, yeah. Marucci done cut out a lot of fellas, man. Dude, I remember when I played high school ball, we had one bat for the whole blasted season. That was it. We went to Walmart to the bat that was out of season, and we bought them out that little garbage can, and that was the the bat for the whole team, man.
Now everybody need all the accessories, because every time I go to the store, I walk through the aisle and look at the baseball, the bats. You talk about the gloves and then all of the accessories. You're right. Or the bat alone is very expensive, right, these days.
God. Man, I tell you what, and God knows when they start going to that wood bat league, man, I don't know. I don't even want to think about how much that Marucci bat costs now. And then you think about the average person. Let's say the old boy work at Home Depot. He can't afford that bat.
Yeah.
But what if his son is the best player on the team?
Mm-hmm.
But he gets that downfall. And like I said, there's a guy by I'm going to drop some names here. I got a guy by the name of Tony Regans. And he is helping like Tony Clark do some things with his inner city youth. And the first time I ever met him, he was working like in the front office for the California Angels. And he met me, and I nicknamed him Junebug because he looks like it. So every time I see Tony, he says, Smitty, you remember when those black kids came to the game in Anaheim? And I'm like, yeah, I remember. The white kids had all of the foods and all of the hot dogs and all the gifts. And there was probably about 25, 30 black kids sitting there. And they were just sitting there. They weren't even watching the game. They had no drinks, no sodas, no hot dog or nothing. And I told Tony, I said, hey, man, go up there and get money out of my wallet and get them children some to eat over there. And the amazing thing about that, he made every one of those kids wait for me after the game to say thanks.
That's wonderful.
Nowadays, everybody would have been gone in the seventh inning.
That's right. That's a wonderful story.
Every one of those kids that was there stopped. They made them stay there after the game. You know how slow I walk, Coach.
Yeah, that's good. But I'll remind Tony of that. He and I are going to talk later today, and I will remind him and let him know you said hello.
Hey, Lee, do you have a second for us to take a break and continue the conversation?
Sure.
All right. Hey, everybody stay tuned. If you're listening to us, that is the voice of Leo Arthur Smith, Hall of Fame, MLB pitcher. We're going to take a break, pay some bills, and come right back. All right? So y'all stay tuned. More of Chopping It Up with Coach Roger, Cador, and Perry White.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time. Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
BRAC implemented the Imagine Your Park strategic plan nearly 20 years ago. The results transformed the park system in East Baton Rouge Parish. There are 12 new community parks, 6 dog parks, Liberty Lagoon Water Park, skateboard parks, fishing ponds, a new conservation area in Central, improved playgrounds, and a growing trail system. It's really a lot to keep track of.
So we decided to give you an insider's peek into some of these amazing new community assets through the eyes of the folks who know them best, BRAC's community partners.
My name is Nathaniel Klum, and I am Paddle BR. What I often say I am is chief doer of stuff. The two things that everyone wanted were paddling and trails, and in our case, paddle trails. And so we did a lot of work to make it so that people could get out on the bayou, but without access points, no one can use them. BRAC has been amazing at building paddle launch sites so that we can get out on the water and enjoy everything that Baton Rouge has to offer. Not only are they listening to everything that Imagine Your Parks and Imagine Your Parks 2 that we asked for, but it's actually getting done, which I don't know about you, but that makes me happy every day of the week.
No wonder BRAC is the recipient of the National Gold Medal by the National Recreation and Parks Association. There really is something about East Baton Rouge and national champions. BRAC, #1 and still getting better.
With over 60 years of combined experience, Kathy Sherburne and Anna Barnett bring a wealth of knowledge and excitement to the framing industry. Keeping strong to the Louisiana culture, Acadian Frame and Art has numerous local artists and sports team memorabilia for their customers to choose from. Whether you're creating a gallery-like setting in your office or simply looking for some fun art for your kids' playroom, Acadian Frame and Art is your one-stop picture framing spot. Call 225-927-6129 or go to www.acadianframe.com.
Get the memoir from the legendary baseball coach from Southern University, Roger Cador, Against All Odds. Roger refused to let his past dictate his future by rising to legendary college baseball status. An inspiring story of tenacity, faith, and hope. Against All Odds chronicles Coach Cador's determination to reach higher, to want more, and to dig deeper to find the courage to chase his dreams. Against All Odds. Get yours today by Cador & Cador Publishing. You are now watching Choppin' It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White.
All right, we're back with more Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador. I'm Perry White, my man on the board, Garrett Edgerton, and we are being joined by a very special guest today. He's an Hall of Famer. Big time. When you put Hall of Fame behind your name, because every time I look at you, I see Hall of Famer. Now we're on the phone with another Hall of Famer. Man, one day I want to be in the Hall of Fame. For what, I don't know. Maybe rock, paper, scissors or something.
I'm figuring that too. Hall of Famers are always 30, 40 hour early.
Yeah, it is, man. Welcome to the show, my man, Lee Arthur Smith. Good morning.
Good morning, man. How you guys doing again?
Doing good. I'm glad you were able to hang on with us. We're going to continue the conversation. And one of the things, I'm going to kind of pivot a little bit, because when you get in the Hall of Fame, and that means you had an opportunity to play with a lot of greats and get to see other people and see things from a different perspective. And I'm sure, have you ever heard the term when somebody refers to someone as the GOAT?
Oh, yeah.
So GOAT, for those that don't know, means greatest of all times. And I think today, do you think that word is used loosely the way people like to throw out the GOAT?
Yes.
Now, break it down to me for you for consideration when you say someone is the greatest of all time as something to go. What are you looking for them? Because, these are the barbershop arguments. These are the Thanksgiving and Christmas arguments when everybody and family sitting around talking about who's the best to ever do something. For you, what do you factor in when you're in those type of conversations?
I always would factor in longevity. Being around for a long time, not putting the team together, getting the best players on there, and winning with what you have. And if I had to pick one of probably the best, would consider the GOAT, would be Michael Jordan. Because he came through in an era where he didn't go out there, and try to get Kareem and Magic and Larry Bird on the same team. The team he had, Pippen, all these guys that was there, Grant, and all those guys there was somewhat, to me, mediocre players, but he made them better by him being that person. Yeah, and I think you just look at the way that the games are now. Everybody want to make all the money in the world, and they don't care about if the team win or not.
Yeah,
Michael Jordan could have played for any team that he wanted to. He could have went to Boston and played with Larry Bird, L.A. if he wanted to, but he stuck in Chicago because that was where he felt comfortable and he thought he could bring the best to the team. That's the GOAT for me. And it's not about the money, easier said than done, but you want to think about taking care of your family, but longevity is probably the main thing with me.
Have you met Michael Jordan?
Oh, God, yeah, lots of times. He actually started to play some baseball. He tried to play baseball.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, man. Well, him and James Worthy, because when Michael first came to Chicago, he had that hairline fracture in his foot, so he didn't play that much the first couple of years in the NBA. And he would always come to the ballpark, and him and Worthy, they would come to the ballpark to see the baseball games.
They're both North Carolinians.
Oh yeah, man! One of my favorites was Artis Gilmore. He was a fan of Chris Johnson. He used to come up to the ballpark, and I remember seeing that big afro, but my hair wouldn't grow like that.
now you talking about? I'm gonna get him one more time, Coach, because now he said he gave me this GOAT of baseball. I mean, excuse me, of basketball. What's your GOAT of baseball and football? Yeah.
You see, this is the kind of question only he's going to ask you, Lee. I would never ask you that, but knowing this guy.
I want to know his greatest.
I'm going to have to go with Barry Bonds.
Okay.
Yeah. Barry Bonds, Tom Brady.
Barry Bonds and Tom Brady.
Pretty good.
You like the longevity, right?
Yes. Yeah. You know what? The thing about it is, when you think about the GOAT, is the guy that made the people around him better.
Yes. You nailed it on those two.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. And I got to add something right now too, Coach. Is my little lady was giving me a hard time about not doing podcasts, right?
Yes.
But I said for Mr. Roger Cador, I could do it.
Yeah.
It's like that now.
Yeah. Well, I knew your sweet wife would
wear me out about doing it, Coach.
Yeah. Well, I knew she would agree to do it for me.
Oh, definitely, Coach. You know she love you, man.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell her I love her too, and I appreciate it. And we're having a good time,
Oh, my God, yeah.
We're not asking a bunch of personal questions, all kind of stuff. But, Chicago is the third biggest media market in all of sports. You know what I'm saying? Behind New York and L.A. Am I correct?
I played in some great cities.
Yeah. I mean,
I put on country boy, man. I go from Chicago, Boston, St. Louis.
Yeah.
And, I really didn't think that I would like Anaheim.
Yeah.
But that was like one of the top of my list because Dean Autry was the owner of the ball club there.
Right.
And he would come down every day and talk to the players and hang out with us and things like that. And that meant a lot.
Right.
The guy that owned the team comes down and talk to you, and tell you, hey, I appreciate what you're doing. If you're struggling, hey, you're going to be all right. Things like that, but you don't see now everybody tell you how they feel through the media.
That's right.
Yeah.
Chicago, give me some of your best food spots. What food spots you like in Chicago?
Oh man, I'm still stuck on Gibson's. I love Gibson, but if I have to do a pasta, there's a place called Paisanos. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. But you know what? They got so many restaurants in there. It's tough to pick
That's right.
one. You know,
It is.
but if you have a certain food that you like, you know, things like that. But my seafood spots in Boston.
Oh, yeah.
That place, oh my God, unbelievable! You can't beat it there.
All those cities who had
know where to start.
all those cities who you think had the best food?
I guess I'm gonna have to go with Chicago.
Okay,
man.
then.
Yeah, I got. It's not because I played there the longest. It's just they have every variety of
Everything.
food.
Yeah.
Everything, man.
Yeah.
Everything. You go to Boston, you got mostly seafood, things like that. You know, but Chicago, man, you got from Chinese food to pizza. They got all the best pizza joints in the world, man. But you know what? St. Louis had a lot of things like that too. But
Yeah.
Chicago, just being so much bigger,
Bigger,
you
yeah.
know, they had a lot more to offer.
Deep dish or thin crust?
I'm a thin crust.
Me too. Hey, a greasy thin crust pizza any day, I'd take it.
Oh my God, yes, for sure, man. You're making me hungry, man.
Excuse me. Hey, when you talk about food, because I love Chicago, man, and my family still is there. My grandmother is there. And let's talk about now, you know, you had an opportunity to travel around, have an 18-year career. What was life like for you then transitioning into retirement?
Well, you know the weird thing about it is, you know, when I first got traded, the American League, National League never saw each other. So when I went to Boston, I had a new learning experience about seeing other hitters that I've never seen before, you know, going to cities I've never been before because we didn't see each other at the All-Star Game, World Series. So now, but they're doing the interleague play thing, so that helps out a lot, I think, with the rivalries and things like that. But the cities that I really, really enjoyed, I got a chance to go back to was Seattle. I enjoyed going to places like that, you know, and Montreal back in the day when they had those. But the tough thing was getting traded and you didn't know anybody on the team because mostly back in my day, the guys tried to stay with the ball club. They didn't want to go to the other league. You didn't see that as much as you do now. And now teams are changing leagues now, so it's so difficult now. But I think it's a good thing that the fans get a chance to see all of the players a lot more.
Right. That was a good move by the commissioner to do
It's
that.
all good. It's all about the fans. It's
Yeah.
all about the fans. So, and now they always they make sure they try to do like the Yankees and the Mets, and they're trying to do the Rangers and Houston. You know, things like that, you know, I think helps the game itself get people back a little more interested.
You know, once you decide to put the bat and the glove up, you went into coaching. What was coaching like for you to be on the other side of it?
Well, you know what, man? When I got to coaching, I actually started my first coaching thing was in Shreveport. So I was at home. That was the San Francisco Giants. And, man, they had Philippe Alou there. Then Dusty Baker came over. But it was a thing where the guys asked me where I wanted to coach, and I said, you know what, I want to see Double-A or lower. I want to see the young guy that's actually going to listen. You know, so that right there meant a lot. From going spring training and working with the young guys, and hopefully try to keep them from making some of the mistakes I made out there. But it was just one of those things where I didn't think I would like coaching. When I talked to Sean Dunston and all the boys, I was like, man, when I throw my last slider to the plate, I'm done. I'm going home and sit out, right? And then I got there about a year or so later, I got bored, and then the opportunity came up in Shreveport, and it's amazing how many old Cub guys that was in the front office for the Giants and made that transition so much easier for me because they knew me. You know, when I played for the Cubs,
Right.
and my minor league catcher was the manager, Billy Hayes, in Shreveport there.
Wow.
So he made things so much easier for me, you know, to come in and do some things. And the guys that he wanted me to work with, we always would talk about guys that he wanted to ask me about if this guy's a starting pitcher or is this guy a relief pitcher, because it's a tough thing to find and define what you think this guy is capable of, and it was being able to been through that, going from a starter to a reliever. You can tell those guys that, you know, out there know how to pitch, The guys know how to read the bat and things of that nature. So that helped me, and it helped him a lot too, because he had a couple of guys. Me and Ross Brimley, he had like 15 years in the big league. He was the pitching coach there too, and we helped so many kids. And I tell you what, I think probably over half of our AA club went to the big leagues.
Really, that's really good.
Yeah,
I know you coach one of my former players, Cody Hall.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he's one of my former players. Played in the big leagues.
Yep. Yes, he did. Yeah, he did, man. You know what? He had talent. It just, I think with him, he underestimated his stuff. He thought if he threw 97, he had to throw him harder. And I'm like, hey man, you got to learn to add and subtract more. But you know what? He had the heart, you know, to go out there and do those things. But I think they just moved him around a little too much.
Right.
He wasn't a relief pitcher. He wasn't a starting pitcher.
You know, you go back to 1995. Does the name Jim Murray sound familiar to you?
Who is that?
Jim Murray.
Jim Murray.
He was a sports writer, and he selected and said that you were the most active player at the time likely to be elected into the National Baseball Hall of Fame, and described you as the best one-inning pitcher the game had ever saw. And that was Jim Murray. Huh?
That name sounds familiar, but boy, you know I'm getting old.
Hey,
you're telling it like it is. Man, it happens to me all the time.
And I'm gonna lead that into, you get the call and then you find out that you're gonna be inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. What is that feeling like to know that all those years of hard work put you in the elite category, in this elite class of some of the greatest to ever play? Man,
that was unexplainable. You can't imagine that feeling, because, like I said, I came from the small town. I would play. My dad had a firewood business. I was trying to get away from him. That's why I played.
You weren't trying to chop no wood, huh?
No, I was out of here, man. You know, if I ever start messing up to give him a call, I'm like, you won't be calling him, man. I'm like, but to answer your question, man, I get that call. And it couldn't have happened to one of my best buddies, Harold Baines, with the White Sox. And it was amazing, man, to get that call. But I did not realize that those three little letters meant that much. You know, because you would think about, you play with a lot of guys, went to the Hall of Fame, you play with a lot of guys who were good players that didn't go to the Hall of Fame, and you finally get that call. Man, I tell you what, it's unbelievable to get that call, man, because you as a player, you don't play to say, hey, I want to be a Hall of Famer. You know, you play to say, hey, man, I want to take care of my family, I want to be successful, and I want people to remember me as being a good player and being a good person more than anything, because my mom used to wear me out talking about treat people the way you want to be treated, and that's one thing I would never, ever forget that she left with me.
That's so right. And you know, the thing is, the Hall of Fame is only a handful of you all. I mean, it's a small fraternity. And to get into that thing is a special monument.
And it's hard to get to the place, too, man, let alone getting in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it is hard. I mean, you know, to try and get from New York City to Cooperstown. Albany, yeah, you fly into Albany.
That's it. That's like 70 miles away, so I'm good with that, because that's how far it takes for me. But you know, the thing is, when you get there, it's like a family. But you know, I didn't realize about the Hall of Fame thing until I went in that little room over there in the corner where all of the Hall of Famers got on the bus. And I'm sitting in there, man. I'm looking at it. I'm in here with Hank Aaron and Goose Gossage and Mike Schmidt, and I was like Fergie Jenkins, Billy Williams. I'm like, man, the guys you grew up looking at, you know, and the great managers and La Russa and La Sorter and all those guys, man. And I'm like, man, I actually made it to the Hall of Fame. I came from Castle, Louisiana, where we probably still ain't got 2,000 people in my hometown, and I'm sitting in the Hall of Fame. Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yes.
I'll let you two small-town Louisiana guys of Hall of Fame status continue this conversation, because at this point, who am I? I'm out of it. I mean, this.
Hey, man, I tell you what, we used to come down and see Coach all the time, man. Me and Dave Stewart and all those guys. And we come down to see his team, you know, and everything. Boy, it was unbelievable. When we showed up, Coach left. He left us coaching.
That's right. That's right. I knew that they wanted to hear you all, not me. They hear me every day.
You know what? That really felt good, you know, knowing that you had that kind of confidence in us.
Well,
that was really good. Thank you very much. And I'm telling you, that led off into me thinking about, you know what, I might could coach.
Well, I'm happy. You know, and when you think about, you know, people like you and Dave Stewart working with kids, I mean, where are they going to get this kind of opportunity? It just doesn't happen every day, you know?
But you know what, too? When you get those young kids, man, they're impressionable. So they listen, they absorb things. And the tough thing with me, when you get those guys in spring training and they go to big league camp, everybody think they're a big leaguer. I'm like, dude, you got to. But everybody wants to succeed because as a young kid, the parents put the kids in there where they ain't got to do nothing but win. Put them on the best team and make sure they win. Make sure they don't, you know, have any shortcomings. But you don't have to work for anything because they give a trophy to everybody.
That's right.
Leo Arthur Smith,
man, you have to be the MVP.
I got to ask you a question. What are your hobbies these days? What are you up to these days?
Man, I am trying to amuse myself every day. I got like 8 tractors, and my wife wants me out of the house, so I got to find something to do with myself outside. So I got like 8 tractors, man. I'm cutting hay, I'm baling hay, I'm feeding the cows, a little bit of everything out there, man, to keep myself busy.
Do you fish?
Well, you know, oh yeah, I got a pond ready in front of the house.
Oh, what you got? What's in there?
I put crappie, I put Florida bass, I put the bluegill and catfish.
Well, see, I'm glad you said crappie because, you know, I'm learned in Louisiana they call it sac-a-lait.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in certain parts.
My neck of the woods,
it's called a crappie where it leaves from.
Yeah, and where
South
I'm from.
Louisiana.
White perch.
Yeah, but in South Louisiana, we call them sac-a-lait. And even though it's the same with yours, because of the water content, they taste just a tad different down here.
Do you guys do, what do you call the catfish?
Catfish. We got the
no.
we got the blue. Well, there's a place in Simpsport, Louisiana, where we could go by them to catch them. Okay. We got the bluegill and the yellowgill catfish down here.
Oh yeah, hey, but Coach, some neck of the woods I was at, I want to say it's up on the East Coast. They called it a bullhead, the catfish. I don't know about that one.
Well, they catch some of them in the Atchafalaya and every time in the Mississippi, but I wouldn't eat no catfish or any fish out of the Mississippi. Too much chemical. They got too much chemicals in the Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
You know.
You are so right. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to ask that because, you know, looking at what you do these days and figuring it out, I mean, you know, retirement, because I ask Coach this all the time. You know, he will not sit down. You'll look up, you know, tell him where he's at and what he's doing. So, you know, for you, what is retirement? But it seemed like you know, you kind of being pushed out, like, go do something.
But the thing is, the Cubs keep me busy quite a bit, and I hadn't seen Coach in a while, and I'm looking at the daggum field in Seattle at the All-Star game. There, he's floating around all over the place. I'm like, man, I ain't seen him in a long time.
And it was great to meet in Seattle. I mean, this was in July, so we got to see each other, and we got to see Fred Lewis, who you...
Really?
Yeah.
Now, Fred was one of the kids that I coached with the Giants.
That's right. And, you know, it made me even happier. I had Ricky Weeks, one of my former players, coaching Trinidad Hubbard. They were both coaching the game. So, I mean, it was really a special event for me.
Yeah, definitely, man. I tell you what, I enjoyed myself, man. I tell you what, my little lady loves Seattle. I think we ate everywhere.
Yeah.
my son and my daughter actually came out, man.
Oh, really?
I want to go. Yeah.
No, Seattle is not bad, man. Not bad.
Oh, man. No, it's really good. They have some great seafood there, too.
Yeah, they really do.
Yes, sir.
Well, let me tell you, if you're looking for some things to do, you're always welcome to come on here, and you can chop it up with us anytime. And if you want to join the team, look, I mean, we available on Mondays from 10 to 11, Mr. Leo Arthur Smith, if you ain't got nothing to do on a Monday morning.
Man, I am bored. I'm going to have to find something to do with myself. To keep me in there.
There you go.
I got to start. You got to let the weather get better so I can go outside.
That's right. Yeah.
She won't be out of the house.
That's right. There you go.
Okay, guys.
Tell her I said hello, okay?
She said, "Hey, Coach, said, hello, baby." She said, "Hey, she's sitting right here now."
Oh, okay.
I think she's trying to tell
We
me to be
probably
quiet.
should have
She
been
really don't have
interviewing
lunch.
her.
Oh, yeah, but we got some things we don't want told. We ain't gonna let her do it.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah, but all right, guys.
Okay.
Hey,
Hey,
it was really, really nice talking to you guys. Hope we can do it again.
Yes,
We
sir.
will.
Appreciate having you on, man. And then as always, you know, it's a pleasure to be able to hear your perspective, to be able to understand your journey and see where you're going, because you found success in life and it ultimately changed your trajectory. You could have been that little small town boy still living in Louisiana chopping that wood, but you saw the world and you knew there was something more out there for you, and you followed that, and it ultimately led you to have a Hall of Fame career, and now being able to have that life of a retirement to be able to do what you want with those 8 tractors and that pond full of fish. So
Oh yeah. Well, I just hope some of our young kids can realize now, no matter where you're from, you can do whatever you thrive to do, and not just think, "Hey, I got to stay here at hometown," because you might have to leave your hometown to make it.
well, we appreciate you for having you on this morning. We'd love to have you back, man.
All right. Sounds
Okay,
good, buddy.
kick there, Lee.
All right. That was the
Yes,
voice
sir.
of Lee Arthur Smith, Hall of Famer, MLB Hall of Famer. Let's get ready to take a break. When we come back, we're ready to close this thing, all right? Stay tuned. More Chopping Up with Cador.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time. Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
BRAC implemented the Imagine Your Park strategic plan nearly 20 years ago. The results transformed the park system in East Baton Rouge Parish. There are 12 new community parks, 6 dog parks, Liberty Lagoon Water Park, skateboard parks, fishing ponds, a new conservation area in Central, improved playgrounds, and a growing trail system. It's really a lot to keep track of.
So we decided to give you an insider's peek into some of these amazing new community assets through the eyes of the folks who know them best, BRAC's community partners.
My name is Nathaniel Klum, and I am Paddle BR. What I often say I am is chief doer of stuff. The 2 things that everyone wanted were paddling and trails, and in our case, pedal trails. And so we did a lot of work to make it so that people could get out on the bayou, but without access points, no one can use them. BRAC has been amazing at building paddle launch sites so that we can get out on the water and enjoy everything that Baton Rouge has to offer. Not only are they listening to everything that Imagine Your Parks and Imagine Your Parks 2 that we ask for, but it's actually getting done, which I don't know about you, but that makes me happy every day of the week.
No wonder BRAC is the recipient of the National Gold Medal by the National Recreation and Parks Association. There really is something about East Baton Rouge and national champions. BRAC, #1 and still getting better.
With over 60 years of combined experience, Kathy Sherburne and Anna Barnett bring a wealth of knowledge and excitement to the framing industry. Keeping strong to the Louisiana culture, Acadian Frame and Art has numerous local artists and sports team memorabilia for their customers to choose from. Whether you're creating a gallery-like setting in your office or simply looking for some fun art for your kids' playroom, Acadian Frame and Art is your one-stop picture framing spot. Call 225-927-6129 or go to www.acadianframe.com.
Get the memoir from the legendary baseball coach from Southern University, Roger Cador, Against All Odds. Roger refused to let his past dictate his future by rising to legendary college baseball status. An inspiring story of tenacity, faith, and hope. Against All Odds chronicles Coach Cador's determination to reach higher, to want more, and to dig deeper to find the courage to chase his dreams. Against All Odds. Get yours today by Cador & Cador Publishing. You are now watching Chopping It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White.
All right, we're back with more Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White, of course. I am Perry White. He is Roger Cador, my man on the board, Garrett Edgerson. We enjoyed and want to thank Lee Arthur Smith for coming on, the MLB Hall of Famer, talking to us about his career and all of his journey. We also want to give a shout-out to Coca-Cola for these amazing products that they have. The Body Armor, the Coca-Cola, the classic, right here, the Monster Energy Drinking is one of my favorites, which I needed this weekend, a Powerade. And glad to be here joining with you guys. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right there underneath the video. It's been a great week because, Coach, the Bayou Classic, the biggest happening in black college football took place this weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, down in New Orleans, Louisiana, between Southern and Grambling. And what a sight it was. Nearly 70,000 people flooded the Caesars Superdome to watch an instant classic of Southern and Grambling. Southern pulling away, getting the victory 27-22 on a goal line stop on 4th and goal on the 2-yard line, stopping Grambling State, who were out of timeouts. And Southern ultimately gets the opportunity with their interim head coach, Terrence Graves, as well as acting head coach Sean Wallace, who is currently dealing with pancreatic cancer. Both those guys found a way to steer the ship in the right direction. Terrence Graves now has the distinct honor of not only coaching both Southern and Grambling and being the only coach to do it, but he would now go down as the only coach to ever coach both Southern and Grambling and get a win in the Bayou Classic. He's 2-0 in the Bayou Classic as a coach.
He's a hell of a coach when it comes to that. If you only count those two, he's one hell of a coach, and I'm so happy for him. But, you know, it goes to show you they were able to get the kids to play. They talk them up, and they played hard, and they didn't give up. Mm-hmm. Even toward the end when Grambling was right there, that defense came and gave them a good goal line stance. And that's what you really need. Rivalry games, a lot of things happen.
Mm-hmm. And you look forward to that because it gives the people their money worth. It was the 50th. Both teams came in at 5-5, and I think now you cap that off with the 50th Bayou Classic with a coach that has now won at both institutions. He'll forever have his name etched in history. It was great to see all the former MVPs. They honored doing that. They came out and pulled out the American flag. And just to see the overall event and the people to show up, because even though there was nothing on the line for Southern and Grambling, the fans still showed up, nearly 70,000.
Well, the pride thing, there was something on the line. You said it wasn't in terms of
championship caliber,
yes.
And because you can't help but say, when you say Southern and Grambling, that's all you can think about.
Well, you know, I like to make sure you're mentioning that kids, they play hard when they have something like this on the line, a good rivalry. There were a lot of rivalry games on this weekend.
Oh, yeah, some good
And,
ones.
you know, and Alabama almost lost to Auburn.
What a hell of a comeback.
I mean, you know, it goes to show you, things happen.
Things happen. The game is played until the clock hits 0.
That's the only baseball. There is no clock.
Well, in baseball, until you get that final out.
There you go.
Tell me, I know. I saw Arkansas lose a national championship to Oregon State by missing a simple pop fly ball game.
Yeah. Coach, he was mad.
Yeah.
He was, Coach, he went through it. Mm-hmm. He went through it, and then they lost the next day. It was over.
It was over.
I wasn't only just mad, I was in a sea of LSU fans. And I had them believing in me, Coach. I pulled it. They was against me, but I had them believing for. I know it was just SEC. I thought we was in it together, and then, yeah, I was by myself once again. So want to thank you guys for tuning in with us. Coach, what you got coming up this week?
This week, I don't know. I don't think I have anything. Things always come up that I don't know, but in the next couple of weeks, I probably have something coming up.
All right.
I tell you, we're going to try and get Gary Sheffield for next week guest, and try to see if we could get him on.
There you go. Keep them rolling in, Coach, because I'm enjoying the conversation with these guys because I love history, and I love to hear from their perspective what history was like as they lived it. And I always get to hear yours, so to hear all of this together, man, I'm like a kid in a candy store, man. This is truly awesome and phenomenal for me. And for you guys out there listening, once again, we want to thank Coca-Cola for their products. Go pick you up one today. And as well as hit that subscribe button right there underneath the video. You get that notification every time we go live. You're able to go back and watch any of the previous episodes. Good morning to Elwin Moore, who is in the chat saying good morning, and thank you all for your support. If you want to come back and watch this show or share it later, we want to thank Lee Arthur Smith. He said you only want to call him Lee Arthur.
Lee Arthur, that's what I've been. For years I've called him that. Lee's a good guy. We go back for quite a few years. And, he's a friend.
All right, well, let's get ready to get out of here. From Perry White, Garrett Edgerton, and Coach Roger Cador, thank you guys for your support. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving holiday and it was safe and you're back home and you're ready to get to work because it is Monday. It is another episode of Chopping It Up with Cador, and we'll see you guys next week. Coach, get us out of here.